Hello and welcome back to our podcast. My name is Dr. Alison Chiwara. I'm the CEO and founder of HumanFocused Limited, a company that is truly dedicated to creating happier and healthier communities, societies, and nations, wherever you are. There are moments in life when the world seems to just kind of quietly, persistently, but patiently question you. Not in a dramatic way, as in who will go? And if you listen carefully, that question is not simply asked to prophets, leaders, or history makers. It's asked of ordinary individuals, people living ordinary lives like you and I, people who are simply willing, people who are open, people who have courage to stand up and say four simple but powerful words. Send me. Here I am. These words come from from a moment in scripture that has always fascinated me. It's in Isaiah 8, where the voice asks, "Who shall I send and who will go for us?" And the response comes in a somewhat terrifying but boldly way. And he says, "Here I am. Send me." Now, what is very interesting about that moment is that Isaiah did not say he was perfectly appointed for that time. He did not say he was fully prepared. He did not say either that he had all the answers. He simply said he was willing. "Here I am. Send me." And I think that is where many of us get stuck in life. We wait to feel ready. We wait until we feel qualified. We wait until fear disappears. But the truth is something completely different. Purpose rarely waits for comfort. People often appear in the middle of uncertainty, and that is where purpose finds you. And the question life asks of each of us is not whether we are ready, but are we willing? Here I am. Send me. And that's the courage to answer to any call. And that is the topic for this episode today. Now, what is interesting about that moment is that, as I say, history is so full of people who answered those questions, that question. Women and women who stood up and said, "Send me, here I am." They were not always the strongest. They were not always the wealthiest. They were not always the most educated, but they were available. And sometimes availability is the most powerful form of leadership there is. I hope I'm speaking to somebody today. When I look at the journey of, say, my own journey, I realized that many of the doors that opened were not ones I fully understood. At that time, in that moment, I did not. Some opportunities arrived disguised as challenges, and I loathed them. I loathed those moments. But some were responsibilities that arrived before I knew I could actually, or believed I could actually do it or carry those responsibilities. And yet, something inside me would always say, step forward. You may not understand everything, but step forward anyway. And that is what I've always tried to do, because purpose rarely reveals the entire path at once. No, it doesn't. It reveals just the next step to the steps, or the next steps rather to the stairs. And sometimes the courage of that next step begins just with four simple words. Send me. Here I am. Now I want us to pause for a moment and think about the world we live in today. A world of extraordinary opportunity, yet also full of deep complexity in terms of how do we enter a certain market? How do we apply ourselves in certain situations? Am I culturally intelligent to deal with this? A world that is also advancing technologically, faster than we can even speak. Yet, we're struggling with the question, of whether we are called for it. There are communities that need rebuilding. There are systems that need rethinking. There are stories that still need telling. And there are voices around us, everywhere around the world, that we still need to hear. And it's in moments like this, the question still comes through each time. Who will go? Who will stand up? Who will carry the torch of courage, compassion, and truth in spaces that desperately need it? And sometimes the answer does not come from institutions. No. Sometimes it comes from individuals like you and I, people who are simply brave enough to say, send me, here I am. But let me be honest. Yes, answering the call isn't always easy, because when you step forward, especially in leadership, you are taking on responsibilities. You are stepping into scrutiny. You are stepping into moments where perhaps, doubt will try to tell you that you're not enough. My dear friend, Dr. Kendall, always says you are enough, and you're never too late for any opportunity, that sometimes someone else would be better suited, but that's not true at all. But here's something life has taught me, and I'm sure it's taught many of us too. Doubt will always be present as we persist to want to grow. And the answer is whether it gets the final word. Is your mindset much more superior? Can it surpass the doubt? Because courage is not the absence of doubt. Courage is the decision to move forward regardless of how loud doubt is presenting itself. And many of the people we admire today once stood exactly where you and I stood or stand. They were once at the edge of uncertainty with nothing but faith and determination. And yet, they stepped forward anyway. If there's no one to lead, I will lead. Send me. Here I am. And sometimes when I reflect on the courage required to answer that call, I am reminded so much of my mom, her wisdom. My mom used to say something all the time. There was a situation, and those words have always stayed with me, to be fair, for years. My mom would say, Ali, if the opportunity finds you, it means the universe believes you're capable of carrying it. Think about that for a moment. If a responsibility finds you, if a calling finds you, if a vision finds you, perhaps it is because you were never meant to run from it. It's found you because you were meant to answer it. And sometimes the only thing life is waiting for is your willingness to step up and be counted. Are you the leader that your organization has been waiting for? Are you the manager that will lead your sales team into success? Are you the operations manager that dares to change what has stood in time and stood still for that organization for years? Are you the new chairman who must uproot everything and restart all over again? You see, the world does not change through just observing. It changes through participants. Here we are, an International Women's Month. There are people making decisions on things that affect women all over the world. They're not just watching, they are participating. So through people who step forward, can we see change? Those who step forward while others step back. We will see change wherever we are when we decide to take responsibility when others hesitate. when we decide to recognize that the future is not something we simply inherit, but something that we also partake in building. And every generation is given its moment, may I add. A moment to decide whether it will simply exist within history or shape it. We speak of Gen Zs who are reshaping how we live our lives. They are only yesteryears, but yet they called and answered. And they understood the deeper meaning behind those 4 words. Send us. We are Gen Zs, and here we are. They are not just a response. These words are not just a response. They're a declaration that you're willing to show up when others need you to serve up. You're willing to contribute your voice, your skills, your ideas, and your courage to something greater than self. And in doing so, something remarkable happens. You discover that purpose was never about observing. Purpose was always about participating and showing up. It was always about saying yes. Saying yes when life asks you to stand in the space that was prepared for you. So today, as you listen to this episode, I hope it made sense to somebody and it resonated with somebody. I want to leave you with a question. A quiet question, perhaps a powerful question. If I asked you today, if the world asked you today, if your purpose, your calling asked you today, who will go? Would you have the courage to respond? Would you have the faith to say those 4 words? Send me. Here I am. Because somewhere in the world, there is a problem waiting for your solution. Somewhere in your community, there is a gap you can close. Somewhere in your family, there's mediation that you can do. Somewhere in your neighborhood, there's a neighbor you can assist. A story perhaps waiting for your voice. A generation waiting for your leadership. Have you said, send me, here I am. And perhaps the only thing missing is the moment you decide to step forward, regardless of whether you feel qualified or not. So whether you're listening today, I want you to just remember, you do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to have everything figured out, I promise you. You simply need the courage to say yes to the journey that is before you. Send me. Here I am. And something, that single decision will be surmountable. And sometimes it's also in that single decision that something will occur that will make you change your world and change others' world around you. So until next time, please do stay curious. And when life calls your name, may you always have the answer ready and the courage to say, send me, here I am. From me to you, from HumanFocused Limited to your organizations, to your hustles, to your nations, it's goodbye for now until next Wednesday. I hope you will tune in. And if there's anything you want us to touch on, sometimes I run out of topics and what to discuss and share with you. Oh, please do email us at info@human-focused.com. You matter. And your declaration of send me, here I am, matters. It's goodbye for now.